There you go. It's all good. Hold up. I'm gonna start this again. Okay, I won't do that in whole intro again, but it's all right. See, this is why I fucking I'm like
That works.
drinking coffee, fucking. It's all good. My mom said I shouldn't swear so much on the podcast.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I'll try to keep it down. too,
Yeah.
man.
She's like, keep it down. Well, that's why I call it Sucio Talk, because chefs like, in order for somebody to fully express themselves, I didn't want to put limits on the words that they could use.
Right.
So like, I've done in podcasts in the past where people are like, oh no, like, oh shit, I'm sorry, I swore. And it's like, I don't want you to have to think about a different way to say something. I want you to just say it the way that you know how to say it as a chef or a cook or whatever it is. So I'm here with Chef Adam Lawrence. Chef Adam Lawrence, we got connected through Kevin Finch. Shout out Kevin Finch. He's out there in Utah right now doing pop-ups. So I'd love to try one. I think Andrew Chang at some point is going to go try one. He's a SF guy. I've had him on the podcast a few times. But Chef Adam, what are you doing these days, man? What's up?
I've been working in a few different restaurants, helping out and things just to pay the bills mostly. But I've been working on a book for the past 6, almost 7 years, sort of traveling around the country, foraging wild edibles and eating what nature has to offer, I guess.
Right. Have you always been a nature person? Have you always been out there?
Yeah, I mean, I was born in Indiana, and it's weird because I'm like from the city in Indiana, but I think all the surrounding areas there, it was still nature at the time. It's kind of like become more metropolitan as times passed, but back then you were able to kind of duck into the woods like during school and explore and stuff like that. And so I always had kind of an interest in it. My parents didn't camp very much or something, so maybe it was a rebellious type thing just to get out and check out nature.
Heard that. So yeah, we're talking parents, so might as well take it all the way back. You're born in Indiana. How was your upbringing there? What were you doing? What was food like at home? Were you fucking eating at home, or was it more like latchkey kid? Like,
yeah. So my parents had me when they were really young, so I had a lot of freedom as a kid. As far as food goes, Indiana's not really a hub for a culinary hub. I don't think it is like still, but I think they're starting to try a little bit more. But yeah, I actually just wrote about this, and it's I think that the food we had, my parents did the best they could with what they had. My mom grew a garden that was like pretty successful, but there was a lot of certain things. So like we ate summer squash all summer and tomatoes and a lot of peas and a lot of radishes, and those are all things I hated growing up because I had to eat them all the time. We didn't have a lot of money, so it was like fast food was the treat, or like the Jewish deli was the treat. So all in all, my experience, maybe it's like a distorted perception of reality or something like that, but I think that my perception of my upbringing food wise was not a good one. So we ended up, my mom moved out to California in 96 or something like that.
Yeah.
And
why is that? Why was the move?
To get out of Indiana.
Okay,
you know,
gotcha.
she like me likes to like not stay stagnant. So
yeah, get the fuck out.
Yeah, just move around.
Same.
Yeah. So she moved to California. I had like my first avocado, I think was like a kind of game changer for me. And like, and like just how vegetables not out of a can, or like those 3 vegetables that I did have, like expanding my whatever catalog of like things I can eat and enjoy was like kind of eye-opening, and I got into food like pretty early on because of that.
Okay. And then how did that manifest? Did you start cooking at home a little bit for yourself, or did you start looking for restaurant jobs? Like, how old are you at this point?
I was like 7 at the time.
7, okay.
So I wasn't working in restaurants.
Although a chef would take you in, no problem.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, it wasn't that far after that.
Yeah.
What
was your first job?
My first job was a butcher shop in Oakland, actually.
Okay. Which one?
Verbrugi.
Okay.
It's like a Polish-owned place. And I'd go there before school. clean all the band saws, like grind meat
Gotcha.
and marinate chicken and do all the dishes and all the dirty work. Do like clean out the grease trap. Then go to school. The guy would drive me to school, smelling like the grease trap. Go to school all day.
So you were a grease trap kid in school?
Oh man, I was like a stinky like cheese packing grease trap guy.
It's all good, bro.
Yeah, it was all right. Yeah, I just had to.
Wasn't respected then. Now it is.
Yeah, they just didn't get it. I was getting ahead of the game.
Exactly. Yeah, you were hard at work. Yeah. It's all good.
So yeah, I did that, and then he picked me up after school. I'd continue to work, and then didn't really do much of like the academic aspect of school. So yeah, during that time, I was looking for more of a kitchen job and ended up in a bistro that was like down the street from school, and did that before and after school, and it was pretty cool. Yeah, he taught me some fundamental things and taught me how to fuck up a lot and fix it. Yeah, really didn't teach me. He taught me by by my mistakes.
Yeah,
focusing on my mistakes.
Heard that.
But yeah, I mean, that's like kind of how I got into it. I was watching a lot of like, Jacques Pepin and Emeril Lagasse and stuff like that back then.
So you were curious.
I was definitely curious and like trying to recreate things on Iron Chef that were way fucking off and like disgusting, spending a lot of my parents' money they didn't really have,
Gotcha, yeah. Are you, do you see yourself at that point having a career in food, or are you just kind of doing what it do?
Absolutely. I think that transformative experience of like having my eyes open or whatever, like being made aware of the things that do exist that I didn't know existed, was pretty powerful. And so like it's like I want to do that for others. I also just want to be like, it's like right when like the sort of Vogue persona of a chef like was starting to become popular, like I don't know, I would like look at El Bulli catalogs and stuff like that and just get really into like the eccentric sort of like TV chef / the really like high end fine dining stuff, and I was like, that's what I'm gonna do.
Right.
Yeah.
And then what is your first kind of step towards that? Are you researching restaurants? Are you trying to see who the best chefs in the Bay are? Are you going to culinary school? I
did not go to culinary school.
Right.
I was told really early on that I'm not going to culinary school.
Okay. By who?
Like by my parents didn't really want me to do it, and
the butchers were like, "Fuck that."
Yeah, and the bistro guys like, "No, fuck that. I had to work this hard. You have to work this hard."
Yeah.
And he was right.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I definitely like took what they said to heart and worked through like just grinded. Went through like all the. I was like dishwashing a lot, and
where were you dishwashing?
I dishwashed at that bistro. I still dishwash.
Okay.
In my spare time for
Lovely.
fun. I just keep it well rounded.
Yeah.
I think that's really important.
It's a great humbling job.
Yeah, I washed dishes at the Chase Center a couple weeks ago.
Oh, cool, man! How'd you get that gig?
An app. I just do that in my spare time, just like these little temp jobs.
What's the app?
InstaWork.
InstaWork.
It's
just
crazy.
like gigs.
Yeah, I just take whatever. I moved a bunch of furniture at the airport last week.
Yeah.
Just weird stuff,
Really? Is it good pay or what?
No, it's terrible.
It's
just I gotta keep moving,
Yeah. I hear you, bro. It's all good.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I gotta stay humble and
let's talk about this move furniture at the airport. When you're going to work at the airport, where do the employees park?
So it's a warehouse kind of. It's part of the whole like airport like village.
So right, yeah. So you're not like, are you going into like a gate?
No. It's like it's kind of offsite.
Right.
Yeah.
And then furniture you're moving. Are you moving like the fucking pods that people sit in and shit?
So no, it's like a tractor trailer pulls up and it takes like 3 hours to unload that thing. It's like huge boxes like filled with somewhat assembled couches and shit.
Do you ever work with anybody who like taps out? Like, fuck this, I'm not doing this anymore?
They're not monitored enough to do that, so they kind of just like stop working,
coast,
go like hide somewhere on their phone,
Mm-hmm.
Whatever. It's not good pay. I'm not like worried about it. It's not a job I'm like invested in. It's just something cool to do.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
And do they like line all the app guys up and they're like, all right, this is what we're gonna do? Like, or is there people that actually work there?
There are people that work there
Okay,
too.
got you. I was wondering,
there was like one guy that worked there at
Okay.
the time. He was like on the forklift and telling us to get out of the way a lot, and like that was really all the direction we got.
Get the fuck out of the
fuck
way.
out of the way.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
Fucking
Don't touch that.
Staying busy is good, bro.
Yeah, man.
So we got in touch because you're currently writing a book.
That's right.
Right. How long have you been writing it?
About 7 years, 6 or 7 years, but it's been really on and off. You know, I've worked in restaurants a lot during that time.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's hard to find time.
What inspired the book? Does it have a title?
Well, yeah. So the book's called Here, The Wild Romance of Nostalgia in Nature.
Okay.
And I guess what inspired it is, so I'm sure you've had this too, but it's like the sensation you get, like when you smell something, like say a lawnmower hits a patch of weeds that like emits a smell or whatever, and it like brings you back to a very specific time and place. That for me is a really powerful.
The olfactory
sort of
Right.
induced nostalgia.
Okay.
Aspect of things. So I wanted to look more into that, and I thought that was a side of cooking that hasn't really been. It's been discussed a little bit. Harold McGee's Nosedive is a good one. It's one of his newer books.
Okay.
But, yeah, I think it's like something that can apply to food outside of, you know, texture, flavor, smell, presentation. It's like there's like another sense that is sort of untapped that I thought it would be really cool to write about, and eventually like I do some dinners like kind of based on that too, but bringing you back to a specific place based on wild edibles that are from a specific place.
That area.
Yeah.
Heard. How did you get into the food writing aspect of it? Have you always been a writer?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
No,
Did you take a class or did you just start writing?
I take little classes here and there. They don't really
Workshops.
Yeah, like Coursera has good like writing things through universities and stuff like that. And I did pretty well in school, even though I didn't really go. So actually, to step back a little bit, in high school, my senior year, my only class was food science, and I was the only one in it, and they made it for me. And so that was a big help with all of this.
Oh, dope.
Understanding how things work a lot.
Oh, got you. That's cool for the school that you were in would make the effort to do that.
Yeah, it was like an independent study thing. And
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like either that or I drop out.
Exactly. No, I hear you, man. I mean, it's like those kids are way too smart to be in school, and you're like, I get it.
Yeah, or
You know what I
just
mean?
like I'm not fucking interested in hypotenuse or something. Or I don't know. You know, I'm not interested in a lot of that shit.
Yeah. The hypotenuse.
Yeah.
Man, I forgot that shit.
I don't even know what a hypotenuse is.
Oh my god, it's a lot of alphabets squared. But
Yeah.
that's all.
Yeah.
That's all I know.
So yeah.
So-
As far as writing goes, I'm not traditionally trained or anything.
Right.
But I definitely try, and I read a lot. So like that reflects like my style a lot. If I'm reading like a Pioneer journal or something like that, I'll write and then look back on it, and it's like, fuck, I'm writing in like old timey, 1700s English or whatever, and it's like, nah,
Yeah.
no, I got to redo that. But it's like, yeah, I think that definitely plays a part in it.
Okay. So that's very cool. So what was the first like serious step into the world of cooking that you took? Like the first restaurant that you were like, I'm going to go here to learn how to cook like a badass.
So that was, I was working at a restaurant that's no longer there called Franklin Square Wine Bar in downtown Oakland. And that was pretty cool. And like we were starting to use ingredients that I hadn't used, like luxury ingredients, foie gras, aged balsamic, and things like that. And
what year was it?
2008.
Yeah. Sounds like that time. Foie gras, aged balsamic, strawberries.
Yeah. Like just past the raspberry coulis.
Yeah, exactly.
And the crispy leeks,
Just past. That's funny.
Yeah.
Just before pork belly, after hanger steak.
Yeah. we're pumping out cassoulet.
Yeah, exactly. It's funny how you go through those trends.
Yeah.
It's like a marker in time. Pork belly was that was like a 6-year endeavor.
Yeah,
like
man.
Once pork belly came onto the scene,
it
was
a 6-year stomach ache.
Yeah, dude. It was bad for a while.
Yeah.
Then we got out of it. I was like, oh, thank God.
Yeah. So out of that, a friend of mine from Indiana moved out here prior to that, maybe 2005 or something like that, 2006. He was also into cooking. He went to culinary school, and we worked for the same. He worked for the sister restaurant at that place, and he ended up going to a restaurant called Gather in Berkeley, which is still there. It's very different.
I've heard of that place. The name comes up a lot.
Yeah, it's very different from what it was then. But there was a chef at the time, Sean Baker, up and coming for sure. He got like a bunch of like accolades at the time. He
Where's he now?
He's floating. He's not working in restaurants.
Right.
He got out of that, and we just did a dinner series that was really fucking cool.
Dope. Where at?
It was at Naked Kitchen on Valencia and 20th.
Okay.
Mission.
How are you guys, sort of the pop-up community, and I know we're bouncing around, but that's okay. How are you guys advertising these pop-ups?
That one was pretty. I'm really like, I did it through Instagram a lot. My Instagram's not great, but it's okay. And the space itself promoted it a lot. It was their 10-year anniversary, so
okay.
They're like, yeah, come out. We sold out the first day, so
okay, cool,
yeah.
Cool. How many people?
We did 70. It was 2 days.
Gotcha. Courses?
12 courses.
Okay, cool, man. That's fucking dope. See, that's what I want the website of Sucio Talk to be, is like a place where if you're doing a pop-up, it's there.
Yeah.
And, you know, all pop-ups centralized by city.
Yeah.
Because what I'm finding is that there's a lot of cool shit going on, and I find out after. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're telling me that shit right now, it's like literally in Oakland. How do I not know about it?
Yeah. That one was in the city, but yeah.
Whatever it is.
Yeah,
but it's like,
close.
I don't want to have to go on Instagram to find it.
Yeah.
I want to be more like, I guess more on the website, so people don't have to go on social media to find out cool shit about food.
Yeah, since I started going to punk shows, and like I was like 12 years old, there's always been a list called The List. It's foopy.com. I'm sure it's still around, but it's exactly like that for shows, and I think that'd be really cool to like extend that to the food world. Yesterday
I was at Slug Bar, and I saw a black metal show downtown. And I didn't even know that the scene was around here, because I hadn't seen it. I hadn't, like, you know, metal's hard to find, first of all. Yeah. There's only like 3 bands that come here once a year, and it's like, if you miss it, you're fucked. But it's cool to know that there's underground black metal going on.
Yeah.
So you started going to punk shows that early, 12 years old?
Yeah, like Gilman and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I was big into the music, so I like got into bands when like a couple years after that. But like, I like the chaos, you know. And, and
the chicks and the fucking drinking beer and jumping up and down and punching people in the face.
Weird.
Fuck yeah, baby, get weird. Yeah, man, let the freak flag fly. Yeah, you know, it's all good. That's what Sucio Talk is here for.
Yeah.
Dope. So Franklin, you're at the restaurant, right?
Yeah, Franklin Square. Then we.
How long were you there?
For the entirety of its existence, probably 2 years or something like that.
Why'd they close, you think?
They weren't making money.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, downtown Oakland was definitely weird. Like, I think it's getting a little better. It was like a fucking ghost town, you know? No one goes to downtown Oakland for anything, or went to downtown Oakland for anything. There just wasn't anything there.
Why do you think that is? Just because there wasn't anything there?
People are afraid of Oakland.
Yeah,
for the most part, and rightfully so at that time. But I think that, the communities were kind of east and west Oakland, and they kind of stuck with that. And downtown Oakland's somewhere in between that no one ever really wanted to go to, you know?
Right. Okay.
It was like, I mean, I remember there was a 2-cover night that was like just depressing, you know?
Yeah. We did that shit in Newport, Rhode Island. It was like we had 0 on the books, and then people would like walk 2 things up the stairs, look at the menu, and be like, "I'm good."
Yeah.
You're like, damn, bro, come in, you know. So after that, do you plan on going to another restaurant? Or what is the plan then?
Yeah. So we went to Gather.
Okay.
Me and the friend of mine from Indiana.
So you guys are kind of like
we were kind of a pair for a little bit.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah. He was there, like, he was part of the opening team, and I was there like a couple weeks after that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's fucking intense, 400 covers a night, but like really, really like meticulously plated food. and just staying at like the forefront of trends and stuff like that. I think he was really good at that. Um, and yeah, so we did like all the hydrocolloid stuff, which was really big at that time.
Yeah.
And so we were like,
What recipes were you using? El Bulli or Alinea cookbook?
Trying to remember.
Those motherfuckers figured it out. So
Yeah,
we were all just copying at that point.
Yeah, there was a lot of Mark.
Yeah.
Like Mark Best stuff. And like I remember he had a grilled seafoam on one of his dishes, and I think it was like Versa Whip or F50 or something like that. Like Methocel, and we were like WD-50 was really popular, so we were doing a lot of that stuff.
Yep.
Just trying to manipulate food however we could. Which for the most part I don't not too into anymore.
Right,
I don't think it was like, it's like cool to know, I guess.
It's cool to know how to do it. After a while I realized that it kind of, to me, it was just like trickery.
Yeah.
And if you're not going to do it on every dish and you're not going to be about it for like the whole experience, then I felt like it was just like, what are you doing?
Yeah, and I think in order to achieve a lot of those textures, you have to put so much hydrocolloid in, you either taste it or you get that like mucusy sort of
I know exactly what you're saying.
Over xanthan kind of thing.
I've definitely over xanthan a lot of things in my life.
Like a lot of the food in Barcelona, man.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah. Wow. So you're doing hydrocolloid stuff, and then how long are you staying at Gather?
I was at Gather for 4 or 5 years, but
did you get to management?
Yeah, so I was like determined to I was working the vegan charcuterie station when I started there, which was the big thing. I think at the time it was the dish of the year for Esquire magazine or something. It was like that was the cool thing to do.
What was your chef again?
Sean Baker.
Sean Baker. Okay.
Yeah, so we were doing a lot of whole animal butchery and a lot of vegan stuff.
Right.
Just trying to appease everybody, because meat was really big then. As far as like whole animal butchery, Ryan Farr was big on the scene and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, doing both. And I just wanted to be well rounded within the restaurant, so I made them aware that that's what I wanted to do.
Right.
Stayed late and did the whole animal butchery until I was doing that. And yeah, just kind of developed things for the vegan program and stuff like that, and that's what happened.
Got you.
Moved up to sous chef. Took a while, but
how old are you at this point?
Probably 22, 23.
So you're a 22-year-old sous chef.
Yeah.
How was that?
It's fucking terrible.
You're a young manager. You don't know shit.
Yeah, I wanted to be everyone's friend.
Yeah, I want to be everyone's friend while you're fucking yelling at them because they're not doing whatever right.
Yeah, and it was definitely a high energy environment, high passion, if you will.
Yeah.
Meaning there was a lot of yelling.
Right.
And my friends would just look, or my staff would look at me like, "What? I thought we were friends, Like, why are you talking to me like this all of a sudden?" I'm like, "Dude, I have to. You know, I'm sorry, but I'm not. You just have to do your job. That's
right."
And I learned that the hard way, that like you can't have both, really.
No, you can't.
No.
You need to I think that's a mature thing to realize.
Yeah.
Like, oh shit, like I can't just go out and get hammered with these guys anymore.
Yeah.
Because then they don't respect you.
Yeah, and I mean that those options were exhausted at that restaurant.
Yeah.
Because I already did both.
Right. Okay.
So I left Gather and went to Camino for a year and a half or so.
Okay. Chef there at the time?
It was just Russell Moore.
Okay.
He owned the place. And
got you.
Yeah, it was a really interesting environment. Very Chez Panisse like, where at Gather we had our own farmers, and we were very particular with the way we handled product, and just respected the produce a lot and the meat and all that stuff. And I kind of got that foundation there. And Camino was very much the same way, in a completely different way, like different technique, where it's all open fire. The CDP is the chef of the dishes they're doing.
Right.
So you sit down, have lunch. You're like, he's like, we have this and this in the walk-in. I wrote like I don't know, Suncho Sformato or something on this. I don't know what that means. Just do that.
Mm-hmm.
And then so you just like kind of create it, put up tasters right as people are walking in and hope they're right.
Right. What happens if it's not right?
Scramble to fix it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So at that point, it's a lot of humbling learning lessons, huh?
Absolutely.
You're like,
yeah.
you know, dope.
Yeah, I thought I was the shit because I was sous chef at a place, you know.
Yeah.
Not.
But it's sort of like, it's like you need those evils. You need to believe that you are the best in order to be able to lead the team, to like convince yourself that they need to listen to what you're telling them.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? It's like a hard dynamic to control, because you're like, who knows how to do that? You know what I'm saying? Like, there's very few that can do it very well. And you know, I think that we both came up in hard kitchens, and after a while you just sort of take those bad habits and then you apply them, and then you realize this doesn't work. But then you question, because you're like, but it worked on me, so what? You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, I feel like you also have to like keep up with
the times.
Yeah, with the times. Yeah, people have feelings now, or they're more vulnerable. You know, which is a good thing.
The feelings matter.
Yeah,
because before it was like, oh, you're sad? Shut the fuck up.
Shove that way the fuck down.
Yeah,
hide that shit.
Yeah, exactly. Then the way I came up was like, the kitchen is a prison yard, and like, you're gonna let motherfuckers take your fucking cupcake or not? You know what I'm saying? And it was like, that was the way it was. Never worked in any kitchen that was like sabotage. Like, there was a lot of those places going on, but no. So Camino, what stations did you work?
I worked.
What was the food there like?
The food there was, like I said, very Japanese style, where it's like,
were you guys serving just a peach for dessert? Or?
Yeah, pretty much. You know, like almost, you know, like that with like whipped cream or something.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
Like elevate it with whipped cream.
Yeah,
but no, I worked all the stations. Everyone rotated, so it was like constantly moving. You're on a different station every day.
Right.
And everyone is a prep cook at least once or twice a week. So.
So you the humble days.
Yeah.
Go back, and that's a good way to do it.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah.
Keep everyone on their toes.
Yeah. It was a great place to learn. I got fired.
Mm-hmm. Why'd you get fired?
Let's see. It's weird. I was going through a weird personal time. I had a lot of friends die during that time, so I was self-medicating in the wrong ways, and my focus was elsewhere. So what I was bringing to the table was not enough.
Mm-hmm. So they let you go, and where are you from there? Are you kind of hitting rock bottom at that point, or
nah?
Sort of like, just let me get another restaurant job, like.
Yeah. So I was at Loconda for a bit, just for a short time. Then I went back to Gather.
Okay.
To be the sous chef in the right way. It was a new staff, all that kind of stuff. So did that, and we at that time were opening another restaurant, Verbena, in San Francisco.
Okay.
Sean Baker was, and so I went with him to open that restaurant. At that time, fermentation was a lot more on trend.
Mm-hmm.
So I was running their fermentation program there.
Right.
And we were doing just, once again, the weirdest shit I could come up with, you know. Like, I was not sticking to traditional fermentations or anything like that. I just wanted to make it weird and like test things out, trial and error style. And a lot of stuff was really cool, but started Verbena with 13 misos that were like all non-traditional misos, and a bunch of weird shit, like rattlesnake garum. And this was 2009, 10, something like that.
Right.
So, 2011, let's say that.
Okay.
And yeah, things that people are talking about now we were doing then, which I thought was pretty, I still think it's pretty cool. And,
yeah.
So Verbena was like where I took it the most seriously, you know, at that time, I was the most serious about my position, and I really worked myself into the ground there, making sure everything was perfect.
Right. Were you still yelling, chef?
You know,
How did you switch from that training to?
I don't. I think I was like so like beaten down and tired that I didn't have the energy to yell at people. But I always thought of myself as a pretty reasonable person, reasonable manager, direct, but not
going after your personal
life. Not screaming at people.
Yeah.
But I've been told otherwise, so I don't really. I think once again my perception is a little bit skewed.
Yeah. Well, when the focus is when it's turned on, you're like you're so focused that when you say certain things to people, they take it like, but then you never kind of have that self-reflect because you're moving forward so quickly that you never like stop and say, oh, maybe I was wrong.
Yeah.
Because you're just like, well, you're a fucking idiot, but I need to do this thing right now, so I'm not gonna like pay attention to you. It's not a good way to be.
Yeah. I think that I don't know. I was very direct, and I think that I still can be in the kitchen, but like definitely take into account my shortcomings as well now, and that's something that like I was younger than everyone. I had to prove myself somehow, so it's like
put your chest out.
Yeah.
Put your chest.
Throw my weight around.
At the end of the day, some people respond better to authority, like
True.
better than like kind of beating around the bush and be like, oh, well, I realized that when I became a manager, and the way that I talk would be like, I'm suggesting that you do this, not I think you should like do this kind of thing. And it was biting me in the ass repeatedly.
Right.
Because they wouldn't do what I thought I told them to do. And they were like, well, you suggested it. And that's like not enough. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Along with that whole language thing.
Yeah.
Something that really always bothered me was I have a lot of little pet peeves, like, but the one, how about we do this? And I was like, oh, so you're going to do it also? Like,
yeah.
Like, how about we take out the trash? I don't know. And it's like, oh, so you're going to take out the trash and I'm going to follow, right? Like, that's not what they mean.
No, that means
so I made sure I never did that.
Let's do this. Let's. Yeah, that's that one got me in trouble a couple times.
Yeah.
Cool. So fucking, where are we at here? You're back at Gather. You're a sous chef doing it again. How long are you there for your second stint?
Just like a year or so until Verbena opened, and then it was like full just Verbena.
Okay.
But we were like building out the place a little bit, like really hands on, making sure everything was exactly the way we wanted it, and the kitchen was small but very fucking nice.
Efficient.
It was efficient.
I'd rather a small efficient kitchen than a very large one.
Yeah,
you don't have to
kind of less to clean.
Yeah, dude, it's less to clean. It's less fucking running. Fucking. I think at Charter Oak, such a big kitchen. It's like 18 to 20,000 steps a day, just like between getting to the office to pastry to fucking the front. And it's like, god damn,
Yeah.
It's crazy. So you build this place out. You open. What's the opening like? You guys do a soft opening or did you just go full bore?
Yeah, we did. A trial run, which was 2 nights serving half the staff each night.
Mm-hmm.
That was pretty good. Then, soft opening. Then it's like balls to the wall. And I think that we weren't really you never anticipate how many people are going to come through there, and we were taking walk-ins almost exclusively. So it was like pretty fucking intense. In the area it's in Russian Hill, but that's right when the marina started like moving into Russian Hill. So it's a lot of like uppity rich, like wine drinking, I don't know, young ladies or whatever. And so it was like
tennis students.
They really they're really particular about what they want, and even if they don't know what they want, they just want to be like, they want to like have control of what you're doing because you're the help, you're the ones working for them. So it's kind of hard working for that clientele.
Mm-hmm.
So I just stayed there until we had to change the menu so much to sort of
appease
fulfill
the people.
fulfill their needs, and like they wanted cocktails and bar bites.
Right.
Didn't want to do that.
Okay. So when you leave there, what's your next move?
I went to Saison.
Went to Saison.
Yeah.
How'd you get the job at Saison? Stage?
Staged.
Did you stage anywhere else, or did you know you wanted to work at Saison?
I knew I wanted to work at Saison. I was doing a lot of foraging at the time and
Right.
preservation, and I was like, I want to be a part of what they're doing. And the place was so mysterious. I had like a fantastical sort of version of what it actually is in my head at the time. Like their website was like super minimal, and like you can like see the kitchen sort of, but I was like almost too afraid to like look into the kitchen there because I thought it was this like, you know, like the top of the top to me, and you know, whatever you want to call it. It was like,
so Josh Skeens is like this chef that you want to work for.
yeah, it was just like something so unknown and so foreign to me. I hadn't
Right.
worked in any kind of Michelin rated anything.
At that point, had you eaten any dinners at any Michelin,
No.
or you just straight cooking?
Yeah,
Okay.
it was just cooking, making very little money, and
Right,
and
yeah.
living.
Right, just trying to survive out
Yeah,
here, bro.
Like, yeah, I mean, it still wasn't cheap then, but
hmm And then you get the job at Saison. You stage one day.
2 days stuff.
Got you. Who hired you? CDC?
I think it was Scott at the
Scott?
time, Scott
Okay.
Clark.
Got you. How many
Scott
people
and
work in
Johnny.
that kitchen?
Probably about 20, 25, something like that. We were doing, at that time, it was, I believe, 21 or 23 courses a night. And it was like 18 to 20, low 20s covers a night.
Right.
So it was like,
Manageable.
yeah, I mean, it was difficult for sure.
Mayhem.
And, yeah, it was kind of, it's controlled mayhem.
Got you. Which is it was Michelin cooking right there. you
Yeah.
know? When you first started, what station were you on?
I believe everyone started this way, at least, where we were picking herbs. So it was like, I was alongside a lot of like super talented chefs, but we were picking herbs for like 12, 14 hours a day, all day.
Right.
And
Who were the other cooks that were working at the time?
I was definitely right next to Matt Kammerer most of the time. We started really close together.
Okay.
Let's see. Kane opened a place in, I don't know, it was Kane Atkinson. He opened a place in Nebraska.
All right.
He's doing something in
Yeah,
Nebraska.
I follow
never
him on
really
Instagram. I see him.
I didn't keep
bake.
up.
Yeah.
I don't know, Chris DeAndrea. There's a bunch of like people you see around now that were doing that at the time.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and it was like, for me, it was like I need to do something to stand out. So we'd bring all these herbs in from the farm. If I didn't like the quality or I thought I could do better, I would throw that shit away and go get it myself before service. And I don't know if anyone knows that to this date, but like I was like,
so
like,
they
I
bring
could go
you
forage my own shit.
They bring you the forage shit, and you'd be like, "This is garbage."
Yeah, this isn't as good as it could be.
Right.
I wouldn't say maybe I said garbage at the time. I'm a little
Right.
bit judgmental.
Yeah,
but, you know,
yeah.
It's like,
It's like, fuck these ingredients, throw them in the trash.
Yeah.
Go get your own.
it's
That's
like, go
funny.
get my own.
Okay.
Yeah, and just bring in stuff that I thought people should try that I thought were interesting. And,
Yeah.
you know, sometimes they were toxic. You know, it's like, it's like, it smells really good and it looks cool. It's like, nah, man, we can't serve that.
Yeah, it'll kill us.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Okay. That's funny. So, what is your trajectory there? How long did it take you to move off of picking herbs?
That was about 3 months.
3 months of
And,
picking herbs.
Yeah, and I,
You have a relationship with Skeens at all during that time, or was it
0.
zero?
No, he didn't know my name.
Okay.
Or, yeah, no, he definitely didn't know my name.
Okay.
Let it.
Is that on
Just
purpose,
don't-
you think?
Yeah, he just didn't talk to me, and like people usually like get weeded out that way, where it's like, what is the purpose of knowing this comey's name if he's not going to be around? You know, if he can't hack it, so
Yeah.
you know, you got to kind of wait.
That's that
Wait a while.
classic chef thinking.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you know. What can he serve me, basically?
Yeah, yeah.
And then like if you don't see like a couple of years, or it's like, fuck this guy, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, yeah, what's the point?
Yeah, I wonder how many guys would have like really like been amazing had they just had a little bit more love for him. those guys, you know? Like, what talents did they lose?
Sometimes you just
over
got to
the
stick
years?
it out, you know? I think
Yeah.
that goes with everything in
Yeah,
life.
right. The real ones always do it.
Yeah.
Fucking. So, did you become sous chef there at all?
No, I was offered sous chef, and I definitely did not want to take any managerial role. I had been so fucking burnt out on that at Verbena and Gather, where I was just like,
can I just cook?
And like seeing like the emotional and physical state of some of the sous chefs at Saison, I was like, you know, I want to learn. Like, that's kind of been like a overall theme, I think, in my like formative upbringing in food is like, I just want to be well-rounded. I want to know everything. So like, if I'm telling someone, I want to be well educated as far as that goes.
Right. Did you work with Blake Aguilard?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, he's doing some great things down at Saint Germain.
Yeah. Did you see him at Aspen?
I didn't see him. I didn't get a chance to see him, but I did do a podcast with them down in New Orleans.
Oh, wow.
And in their dining room. It was pretty cool.
Right on.
It was back when we were still audio, and then I went for a drink with them after. But super cool dudes, and I like the fact that they have such low covers that they're still doing that classic like we're gonna slice your garlic when you sit down sort of shit.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's cool to me. It's
Yeah.
Like, that kind of fine dining where like you need a brigade to actually do everything the way it's supposed to be done. I think it's cool.
Yeah.
And it's not very many restaurants doing that nowadays. So
That's true. Yeah. I
yeah.
mean, and yeah, it's all about efficiency.
Yeah, for sure. So you stayed there for what, 4 or 5 years?
3.5 years.
3.5 years. Okay. And why do you decide to leave at that point?
So I worked my way through the kitchen. I did pastry program. I did research and development a bit. I worked the fire, which was really what I wanted to do. Cold side. Worked my way through every station basically. And,
Right.
I was asked kind of often like, what do you want to do here? You don't want to like move up. What is your role? And I wasn't like becoming complacent, but I really saw this whole foraging thing. I thought I was good at it and I could excel at it. So I became the gatherer there when Connor Chase took off.
Okay. So Connor Chase was the guy doing that stuff for them.
Yeah. So it basically my title was gatherer, and I did all the sourcing for the restaurant. So I'd go to all the markets, go to the farms, and to the wild, and to our farm, and sort of like was the liaison between all these places to make sure we got the best product.
Where's the Saison farm at?
It's not there anymore. It was in Sonoma.
Okay.
Up
Not
on
there
this
anymore?
hill.
Did they move it or
No, I think
they just stopped
they
having
just
a
stopped
farm?
doing it. Yeah.
Got you. Yeah, it gets to a lot. It's like, like,
yeah, I mean,
I
you
was
definitely have to have someone that manages themselves.
Oh,
up
100.
there.
Dude.
Yeah.
100.
They like live up there, and if they don't want to, then you don't have a farmer. You don't have a farm.
Yeah. And it's kind of fucked because you want to be able to pay your farmer all the money in the world, but you can't, just due to budgeting. But it's like, if you want fucking exceptional produce grown amazingly, like, you got to pay for that shit.
Yeah.
That shit costs motherfucking money.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we're in a drought. You got to keep that
That's
shit
what I'm saying,
added,
yeah.
or,
And like, I mean, farmers should be making 6 figures. Like,
yeah.
I think, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
they're essentially what got us here, and I mean, we've taken so much away from food that now it's like, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
But they're very underpaid, underappreciated, and everything. It really is working against them. So shout out to all the farmers out there, because if you're fucking farming, dude, still to this day, like, you salute you. You know what I mean? Because
sure.
I ain't fucking gonna go out there. I'll tell you right now. So you leave Saison. Where do you go? Another restaurant, or you like, I'm gonna take this foraging thing and start fucking going at it?
Yeah, no, I went corporate for a year.
Went corporate?
Yeah.
Where'd you go? Google?
I opened Facebook's San Francisco campus.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
What was that like?
Fucking God.
How'd you get that job?
I wanted to go corporate because I thought at that time I'm like, I'm going to focus on my book.
Mm-hmm.
I work 40 hours a week.
Right.
That's it. I'll have time to do this.
Did you have time? Did you end up having time? Did it work the way that you wanted it to work?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, like as far as financial stuff
Mhm.
goes and time goes and everything, but it just is not fulfilling at all.
That corporate level, are they actually like, all right, it's been 8 hours, you got to go home now? Or is it
Not
still
when you're
that
management.
Right. It's that
but-
chef mentality of like you're still putting in 16 hours, but it's at Facebook now.
Nah, I mean it's like 10 hours.
Right,
It's
right,
not
yeah.
that bad.
Okay, gotcha.
And it's salary, so you like kind of make.
Did you get to
your own
meet
hours.
Zuckerberg?
No. Nope.
That's kind of lame.
Yeah, I've heard
never, like,
tale
walked
of him
through?
like walking through. No, I never saw him.
Damn. I feel like he doesn't exist. That motherfucker's a robot.
I think he's like stuck somewhere in Menlo Park,
Yeah.
like in a little orb.
Yeah, I bet. I don't know. Who knows, man? He's probably listening to this right now.
Hope so.
Don't do anything to me, Mark. I need Instagram to help me out with this.
Get some algorithms.
It's to get me on the algorithm, B. Very cool. So when you're opening the program for Facebook, like what are you doing? You're opening a cafeteria, basically, right?
Yeah, so it started with 1, ended up being 5.
5.
Yeah.
All right. How many employees there?
Fuck, I had 60. It was in the 60s.
Right.
Dishwashers and cooks. Yeah, it's cool. It's pretty interesting, and you definitely learn a lot of like the organizational side of things, and like you have a pretty good sized budget, so I don't think like everyone necessarily focused on the financial side of things, but you had the ability to if you wanted to, and I tried to do that. So it, like once again, rounding shit out,
Yeah. How many people were on the opening team?
Probably like 40 or so.
Really?
Yeah. It was a lot. But yeah, it was like we had to gear up because they were still building the building. They were constructing the building, and as floors open, you had to be prepared for that. And sometimes we weren't made aware of how many people were going to be in the building, that week or whatever, that day.
So you were just in the shits always?
Kind of, yeah. And it was breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and with a daily changing menu. I never repeated a menu once.
Damn.
They had to have like a theme, and like dietary restrictions were a big thing, so you had to have something for everybody.
Are techies easy to feed?
No.
Hmm.
And it sucks because like when you do something you're really proud of, which is already hard to do in that environment, they want fucking sustenance. They're working. They want like if they
want meat and
they
potatoes.
want either they want like a kale salad with no dressing or salt, or they want mashed potatoes.
Yeah.
And like that's just not how I cook, and that's not really what I want to be doing. So
right.
that was not the most frustrating thing, but that was definitely one of them.
Mm-hmm. And how long did that gig last?
I was there a year.
A year, and then you were like, I'm out.
Yeah, I mean, I can't be in an environment where I can't tell someone to do something and with no repercussions behind it. So like disciplinary action was a big thing for me. Whereas like you have to go through these motions in HR like constantly. I was just constantly filling out forms and talking to like everyone's got a job, so I have to talk to this person about this thing, or like this other guy who's going to talk to someone about fixing a electrical outlet or whatever. It's like just I don't know. I can't do that. It's too disconnected.
Right. Do you have something planned after that, or do you just like I'm going to focus on the book for a little bit and then find another job?
I helped out at Avery a couple times. So,
dope.
And I lived above Rodney at the time, across the street from Avery. So we ended up going there for a little bit.
Right. Okay.
Just a little while, to hold myself over.
How long?
I was there for like 3 months.
3 months, and then you bounced?
Yeah. Ended up doing a couple other things that, like a couple like somewhat fine dining places, and then took off to Denver.
Okay. Why'd you take off to Denver?
Felt like I exhausted my relationships in the Bay Area a little bit. I'd been here for so long, and I've especially when I was drinking a lot, I feel like I had a really intense persona, I guess. And
was that during your time at Cezanne or after?
Yeah, Cezanne, that whole time basically.
Through time. Okay.
Yeah. I think that came from the punk scene too, where I was like part of the cool kids kind of, because I was in a band, but I was like the least cool of the cool kids, so I had to prove myself all the time, and I kind of like let that translate into my work. And I mean, it does have some overlap there where it's like you want to be the boss, so you want to be really like
You want to bark the loudest.
you want to have your personality shine through like
Right,
the
right.
others, or else people just kind of step over you.
Was
you
that
know?
an issue at Saison for you, or did they invite that? Did they like that?
I think they liked it. I
Right.
mean, I mean, I feel like I definitely was able to, I don't know. I was able to take the abuse because I gave it in other places, and I was able to, also, yeah, make myself be known and not just kind of fly under the radar and build up time on a resume. You know, I wasn't there for that.
Right.
So, I think in order to do that, you kind of gotta stand out in a way.
Mm-hmm. So after all this time, are you thinking about not drinking anymore? Like,
Yeah.
Does it come to a point where you're like, I can't?
Yeah, I mean, it took me some time to go from I know this is a problem for me, or like I identify this as a problem, to like forcibly just not drinking, and like focusing on other things. So yeah.
Okay. At this point, how far are you into your book?
It was about here's the thing. I wrote a lot during that time for the book, but it had a different title, had sort of a different
idea.
Different like concept going on. And my writing was garbage because I thought I was like so fucking creative and like thinking so far outside of the box, that like in hindsight that shit just didn't make sense, man. It's like I'm like there is a specific sort of like basic format that you need to write with in order for things to make sense to people. Even if it's like somewhat outside of the box, you still need to kind of think about what you're saying and make sure people understand you.
Right. Okay. And you did this through workshops?
At that point, I was just writing,
right.
just thoughts, things like that.
Okay.
You know, like I have one of those little voice recorders, so
Okay.
I'd like be driving in the car for Saison, or like on the road for whatever reason, or just have something pop into my head and just record that and write it down.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So when you originally started writing the book, what was the original idea?
I think so the way my mind works is I feel like I have all these like ideas and projects and pathways that go in a million different directions. Those branch off into micro idea kind of things, and
right.
That's kind of infinite, right? And I think that the same basic idea was the same, but I was going down these avenues and then losing that idea or forgetting about it because I wasn't writing it down the right way, or I was like or it didn't make sense, or I was just like I don't want to go so far down this path that I want to now like talk about the science behind like why a cheese mite's excrement tastes like lemon peel,
right,
or something like that. It like so I decided to sort of get rid of everything, start with the same basic concept, and focus on one specific sort of avenue and really hone in on that and let that one branch out a little more.
Mm-hmm. And what have you learned over 7 years of writing this book?
Well,
meaning like not so much the subject matter, but like about yourself, work habits.
I definitely know now that I have a hard time articulating for sure. And like, I'm sure that's an issue with everybody, but
yeah. Is there a time of day that's best for you to articulate or write?
I found that at the end of the night seems to be the best, which is strange. Like if I'm so there's two things. If I'm like more in the creative mindset, I'll read a bunch throughout the day, and then at the end of the day, I'll be really inspired to write, based on write about things like personal accounts of things, or like describe an environment or something like that. In the beginning of the day, like right when I first wake up, I'll read a bunch of scholarly articles or things like things with just straight information, and I find that I'm able to note take better earlier in the day. So it's kind of all day in a way, but I think that
you're constantly working towards something throughout the day.
Yeah, it's just different aspects of the same end goal, you know?
Mm-hmm. And do you plan out your week ahead of time? Like, you know,
I can't, you know, I mean, the thing with the book is like I have to do it when I have time to, and because I need the time to write, I can't commit to a completely like solid job.
right.
And which then means they can't commit to a
you.
schedule.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So no, I can't really plan on anything, and that chaos makes it very difficult, but it also
it's kind of what you lived in anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I think
it comes back full circle.
Yeah, the cooking world definitely prepares you for shit not working out.
Yeah, adapting.
And like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, it's like how many times I'll tell you, like, sometimes I go and do events again, and it's like I'll make this dumbass mistake that I'm like, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? It's like cooking humbles you every fucking time.
Yeah.
You either poke yourself with a knife, or you either like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You just these little mistakes, especially because we're coming from that Michelin star world where it's like a pinball machine of like correction. Right? It's like they're always like, don't move like that. Cook this way. I need the sauce now. It's like a constant fire. And when you don't have that, and that's what I'm getting at here, it's like doing this podcast is much different than being in the kitchen. So how do you focus and find the same kind of like fire to do this in this different setting?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's a struggle, man.
Yeah.
I think that at this point, it's like I'm motivated by the amount of time I already put into it, and I'm motivated by like,
you want to make this a thing.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, at least this book, I really want it to be. I put this much time, this much effort, this much fucking mileage on my car and gas money and shit.
Right.
It's like I put this much into it that it can't not be perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Then you find the struggle with the same sort of like avenues and like wandering mind and the rabbit holes where it's really difficult to stop.
Right.
And it's like nothing's ever perfect, and you have this open-ended thing where you just need to be content sometimes, and that's really fucking difficult with food, and it's really difficult with writing.
Or anything artistic.
The art of restraint.
Yeah.
It's a difficult thing.
Which I guess makes great artists.
Yeah,
like, yeah. And they know when the last brush stroke is.
It's fucking hard, man.
Yeah, it definitely
it's hard
is.
to know when to call
it. For sure. That's why I find that it's better to do things when they're not perfect. Most of the dishes that get perfect are the ones that are not perfect to start with. Yeah. Usually the dishes that are like, oh, this is gonna be bomb, we're fucking killing it, and then you like do it, and then you're like, this kind of sucks.
Yeah, or it's just like I put so much time and effort and like thought into this, and it's a fucking whatever, it's lasagna or whatever.
Yeah,
it's like
exactly.
It's nothing special, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Lasagna can be special. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I made a fresh pasta lasagna for the first time ever in my life, and I worked fucking hard on that thing. And at the end of the day, it's like people realized it, and they were like, "This was the best thing here." Like, and that really made me feel good.
Yeah,
like it would have sucked if I put all that time in it. People didn't say shit. To me, I'd be like, "Damn,
yeah,
I'm never making that again." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So where do you stop? Like, how much content do you have? Do you have a couple volumes of your book that you don't even know about yet? What's been the struggle?
I'm not going to add any more chapters. I know to stop doing that.
Mm-hmm.
I have really honed in on the chapters I'm doing, and those are kind of not ending, but that's okay. So I have like two parts really.
Mm-hmm.
The first part is informative and like the science behind things. Methods of flavor extraction, methods of preservation. Let's see, like the sort of neuroscience and the semantic or etymology and things like that behind nostalgia and why olfaction triggers that. And then the second part is the harvest, which is more like feet on the ground, boots on the ground, whatever the term is, and sort of personal accounts of harvesting, and then recipes and things like that.
Right.
So the framework's there. It's pretty much done. It can be done now, but I'm gonna keep going until someone stops me.
Right. Okay. And then you've been trying to find a publisher. Is that what?
Yeah. So I naively thought I knew how to just bypass everything and skip the steps and talk directly to publishers from a personal standpoint. That's not how that works. They don't want to hear that. Right. You have to go through the work. So I'm going back and I've been looking for literary agents, and that's going okay. But that's harder than getting a publisher, I think, because you have to find someone to believe in you and vouch for you.
Mm-hmm.
So doing that and going through the proper motions, which involves, promoting my book how I can so I get some following,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay.
You can't just something else I've learned from this book thing is you can't just be a phantom and be really mysterious like I've been trying to be, where it's like, what, this guy's all over the country and posting things on Instagram or whatever from all over the place and no one really knows where I am. There has to be some kind of end product or something at least for someone to look forward to. And so now I have to put myself out there more.
Mm-hmm. Which is it difficult for you?
I just don't want to do it. It's an aspect of the book thing I didn't really want to have to take part in. But
got you. I think there's a lot of things that, when I started podcasting, like I told myself, like, I'm not an editor, so, I'm just going to get a podcast editor. And it's like, bro, it's like fucking $300 an episode to like properly edit your podcast. So I'm like, fuck, I'm just do it myself. You know what I mean? I'm like, I don't want to edit videos or do any of that, but it's like, it's a necessary thing to be like, you have to do it in order to fucking.
Yeah. You can't just have all the cash and prizes without the work,
exactly, No, but that's where I think that Michelin world kind of, because everything's there.
Yeah.
I need water. I need onions.
Someone had to work to get it there, though.
Exactly. But it's something that as a cook, you don't really think about all the time.
Right.
Because you're just like going forward.
Yeah, and I feel like if you disconnect yourself from, like, if you become management and you, like, shoot straight to sous chef or whatever it is, or higher, you don't appreciate the little things that are happening, to get you to the place to get your mise en place together or whatever it is. The commis are working their ass off. I still wash dishes. Those dishwashers are in there making sure everything's perfect. You can't complain about the fucking smudges on your pans or whatever if you don't do it yourself.
Right.
And I feel like more and more I see that, like, people are like, well, I have 6 months here and there on my resume, so I deserve to be the chef now. It's like, I can't roast a fucking chicken, I can't wash the dishes, I can't fucking clean the grout on my station or whatever it is. There's a lot of work that goes into getting you to that point.
Right. Because you need to know how to coach the next generation, and if you don't actually know how to coach anybody, then what's the worth of you being a chef?
Yeah,
the chef of a place.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. I think Instagram has kind of had to do a lot with that, because people see it online, and not to mention there's a lot of people that just make food content that make way more money than actual chefs that have been out here for a while doing it.
Yeah.
And it's like, I think that causes a sort of like this view that's like it's not real.
Right.
Like, it's this success that's like, and they're just at their house feeding themselves. And I say to myself, with this food content creation, I'm like, okay, can we do this dish 80 times the same for paying customers?
Yeah.
If the answer is no, like, can you train a team to fucking do that dish? If the answer is no, then you're not a chef.
Right.
Chef is a teacher.
Yeah.
And, we live in this world now where people are like, don't call me chef. It's got like this negative connotation to it. And it's like, I'll be damned if you take that word away from us. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to mean this shit that people think it means.
Yeah.
And we can take it back and understand that it means mom. You know what I mean? It means dad.
Yeah.
Like, it means like a nurturing person that's teaching you how to lead a team and cook great food.
Right.
And make experiences,
For sure.
So, fuck, man. Do you have goals, like when you should have this book out and done?
I'm pushing for 2000. late 2023, I'd say.
Late 2023.
Hopefully.
If you were to get like all the things you needed for this book tomorrow, could you have it all ready to go and packaged and like, here you go? Or do you still have a lot of work to do?
I got some traveling to do, but the way nonfiction works a lot of the time is presenting more of an idea, incomplete manuscript, all that kind of stuff, presenting that to the publisher. You get in advance, so you're able to do things like be boots on the ground. And I still need to cover more of the Northeast and the South. So that's where I'm at. I'm like up to that point. Mm-hmm. And something I should mention also is that about 50% of this book is the quality of the photography that goes into it, and Joseph Weaver is a big part of that, and he's kind of
really very cool.
Yeah, so he's been with me this whole time. And,
yeah. So I bet having him, because like you said, your following is not that great on Instagram, but his following is. You know what I mean? Like that motherfucker is like all over the place.
Yeah.
So it's cool that a guy like that believes in the project enough to like be there.
Yeah.
You know, and like actually support you on what you're doing. So shout out to Joseph Weaver. Maybe we can have him on the podcast.
Yeah, the biggest shout out.
Biggest shout out from the mountaintops of Sucio.
That's right.
But yeah, you got some stuff here. Let's try this stuff. What do you got? What'd you
Let's
bring?
See. So this is mostly stuff I brought back from the Southwest.
Right. We'll just put it on the table here.
From Arizona, southern Utah, and New Mexico, northern New Mexico. Let's see. This one is wild Russian sage. So a lot of it's high desert, a lot of sages, a lot of sagebrush. That one's really strong, so it might have kind of gotten its aroma on the
that's what that looks like, people.
Rest of the stuff here.
Oh, it's kind of got a faint rosemary smell to it.
Yeah, for sure. That kind of looks like rosemary too.
Yeah.
The thing with So usually when I harvest this, I start like formulating ideas about how I'm going to use it in recipes. And with this, I want to do a Southwest, actually like more mountains area, bread and butter course. And I want to do, so the coating that's on the outside of aspen trees is actually a wild yeast that is pretty much not used ever. But that can be used in leavening, especially in mountainous regions where the elevation's higher. So you can make like a unique aspen sourdough. That's the flavor of the Rockies.
Yeah.
And the idea is to do that and then smoke wild Russian sage with wild Russian sage and make a cultured butter with that.
Got you.
So bread and butter.
So that yeast that grows naturally at that high elevation, does that just, because that yeast already naturally lives up there, does it make it easier to cook bread with it? Because usually that's the biggest issue. Like you're not, the fucking elevation's off, the air's not the same, the bread doesn't rise the same.
No, I mean, I think the activity is still the same, the bioactivity is still the same. So I think it really has to do with temperature control, humidity control, and I mean, you can use pressure to your advantage or disadvantage. So it's really about time as well.
Right. Okay, I see.
Let's see what else.
What else you got?
I got these. This is Utah juniper.
What the fuck? Okay.
They're big green juniper berries. They will ripen, and I do have ripe ones that I didn't bring because those are for me. But this is a green juniper. I'd use that mostly in teas, or something I've been thinking about is doing like a sugar-heavy game cure on it.
Okay.
I think that'd be pretty cool. It's like
Now, you've been traveling a bit, and wild juniper's a thing in a lot of states.
Right.
Who's got the best?
I mean, I am definitely like pro California on a lot of things.
Okay.
Still, just maybe because it's more familiar, and it was such a formative time of like
your foraging.
Transformative time of like of my like, I don't know, like just like something that had opened my eyes more than it had anywhere else. So
Right.
California juniper is really good, especially those big honking ones. I don't know the species, but those are really good.
Okay.
But this Utah juniper is really cool.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's see what else. This one might, unfortunately, because it's dry, a lot of the volatile aroma compounds might have come off. But if you soak this in water, in like sugar water. I'm planning on fermenting that slightly and making yellow sweet clover, and it smells sort of like warming spice.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really good. I've done that with I forgot it, but I did a Ponderosa bark ice cream with this.
Right.
Ponderosa bark, like dependent on it's completely different and varies between like trees and not just terroir, but that can taste like bourbon and vanilla. So like the combination of this like yellow sweet clover fermented syrup and that Ponderosa bark ice cream is really like special. I think.
Okay.
And it's just straight up flavor of the high desert in the Southwest, which is really cool.
Mm.
All right, this is a sagebrush that I found in northern Arizona on the Arizona-Utah border. It's right here too, I guess.
And how are you? How do you know where to stop? Like, where are you going? National parks? Are you looking at books? What guide are you using to go places?
I haven't really been using many guides, but it's like almost like lotion or something.
Yeah.
It's pretty
It's
cool.
like Suave.
Yeah, I like it a lot. It was like that one bush was right next to a bunch of other bushes. That one smelled like that.
Suave shit.
So, I mean, you have basic parameters, right? Like you have running fresh water, with a specific climate where it might freeze over a little bit or something, but it's pretty moderate in temperature or something like that. That you're more bound to find watercress or like, basic things like that, basic little formulas, and then just like find a trailhead or like an opening in the fucking woods, doesn't matter, and just walk as far as you can, don't get lost, and you're gonna find cool shit.
Yeah.
And like with the amount of reading and research I'm able to do, like not working that much, that's what I research. And so it's like that much more special when you're reading about this thing for a super long time, and then it's like, oh shit, there it is. Like the leaves are the same, the bear's the same or whatever, the flower's the same, and you're like something that you've been researching for so long, and it's like in your face like that. I think is really pretty cool, pretty powerful, and that's like what I tend to. That's what I tend to do for the most part, like just hope.
Right. Hope and pray, baby.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely some kind of luck in that, and I think there's like luck as far as a lot of things go in life. So this is just another layer of that. This one is skunk bush.
Skunk bush,
also known as 3-leaf sumac. So you can eat these little berries.
3-leaf sumac,
dried berries. They do have a seed in the middle. It's weird when they dry. They get a peppery taste, like peppercorn. But yeah, there's an acidity there. It's like a sour dried cherry or something like that.
Yeah. That's dope.
Yeah, it's really good.
Some of that wild sumac.
Yeah, it's a 3-leaf sumac. So something I just read. Hopefully you don't get poison ivy really bad and you're not super sensitive, because I did read that might be an issue with people, but
right.
I think it has to be like a high sensitivity.
What, the sumac?
Yeah.
Well, thanks for telling me before we ate it.
I forgot. No, you'll be fine.
Just don't touch my dick. We'll be all right.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's not the itchy type, but it's like it might like give you a little frog in your throat or something like that. But right. I'm sure you're gonna be fine.
You know where I had a frog in my throat? I went to Mexico recently, and I did this stuff called gambo, and it's basically like some plant that they dry, make into a powder, and they burn you with holy stick. Right?
Whoa!
Right, and then they put the powder on your burns, and they put water on it, and it hits you instantly, and like basically it goes to where your body needs it to go. So I felt something here.
Whoa.
Really heavy, and it's a type of drug that you like throw up and shit on.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
You know what I mean, something like that. But
it's out of my wheelhouse.
That reminded me of that.
Cool. Like well, this won't do that. I don't think.
No, I won't.
What else we got?
You got this pretty sweet knife there. What is that?
Oh, it's this. Yeah, this is. I usually have knives around me.
There you go. Let's see that thing. Where'd you get this thing?
Oregon.
This is a Marine's knife?
I guess so. I mean, it was like
That Rambo shit right there, bro.
yeah, I usually keep a bunch of
Look at
knives
that.
on me for different things.
All that, baby. Woo! Love this show and tell right now.
Yeah, this is
I
fun.
haven't had this in a while. I think ever since we went to video.
All right, and then this one.
Are those just sea? They look like sea beans, the juniper.
Yeah,
the way
yeah,
they
kind
are,
of, yeah. This one, I only took bulbs from one plant because it's on like kind of sacred land, and I like to respect that. But the bulbs are very prized, and these are wild desert nodding onion.
Wild
And,
desert nodding onions.
yeah. So,
Trying to showcase these onions right
but yeah, I usually use them for the flowers. I'm probably gonna lacto ferment them because texturally they're just, dried herbs kind of suck.
now. Yeah. They look like chive blossoms when they're fully like fresh?
Yeah, but they hang down.
They hang down. Okay,
and
they're not like
more of a
open.
bellflower.
Oh, all right. Kind of like the wild onions that we have here, in California.
Yeah,
the white ones.
The
The ones that you find with the seed pods in them.
Yeah, those are 3-cornered leeks.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, these are great. They taste different for sure. Trying to not do mouth noises in the mic.
It's all right. I once had one that was like a popcorn or somebody gave me popcorn or something on the show. And I was like eating it and then listening to the show. People were like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
It's almost like the sweet floral aspect of like habanero to me.
Okay.
Or like habanado or something like that. Then yeah, I don't know. I just grabbed stuff on the way too. Lemons marigold.
You found this on the way here?
Yeah,
Where at?
foothills of Oakland. It grows wild everywhere. It's super strong.
Damn.
I made a leche de tigre with that for our last dinner. It was
Yeah.
pretty damn good.
It's very weed like.
Yeah. Pink peppercorn grows everywhere.
Oh,
around here.
yep.
Yeah.
I remember these guys. We used to do cook beef in these.
That sounds good.
Yeah, just like cook beef and put a shit ton of these around it. Kind of just like smoke it with it.
I've been thinking the native plums are like falling off right now. They're so ripe. So I was thinking about using native plums wrapped in this in caul fat.
Ooh, okay.
That was my idea on the way here.
Got you.
It sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Because they don't naturally have a ton of like fruity flavor, you know,
Yeah.
those native ones.
Hey, cool to put the leaves around the meat too and just like wrap them
Yeah,
on there. That's dope.
that's about that.
Hell yeah, man. Thanks a lot for that. That's fucking
course.
dope.
Yeah.
Fucking bring some more shit on here, chefs. If you fucking, want to sell your stuff on here. Do you plan on that as well, other than the book? Like maybe selling some preserves or dried stuff?
I've considered it. I think that I don't know where I'm gonna land, so I'm having like I don't know if the Bay Area is home forever.
Okay.
Probably is, but that's why I'm hesitant to like try to push towards opening a restaurant, and why I'm hesitant to start a company out here, even if it's not brick and mortar. I don't know. It's like if I'm gonna do a wild foods thing, I don't want it to be exclusively the Bay Area. There are already a lot of companies out here that I think are really like do a really good job at that, and it's like kind of highly saturated. I don't want to even step into that market, but and then the other thing is like a lot of these people keep it really close to them. It's like a personal or even spiritual thing, so I don't want to capitalize on something like that.
Right. Is there any countries that you would like to go to forage in?
Japan.
Japan?
For sure. Yeah, it's in South Korea.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, like I'm big into like ever since I got really into fermentation and stuff like that. South Korea has been like pretty dear to me, I guess. I like learned I can read and write in Korean, and like
you can read and write in Korean?
Yeah.
The fuck are you doing?
Yeah, it's
awesome.
actually really easy.
Yeah.
But I did that so I can read menus at places. Oakland has a pretty good Korean scene.
Yeah, yeah.
And
What's your favorite Korean restaurant in Oakland?
I like the
They got some
The
fried
Tofu
chicken
House.
joint that is delicious. I forget
I don't know.
what it's called, but KFC, I think it's like the play on it.
Yeah.
But they got Korean fried chicken there.
I don't know. I really like Pyeongchang Tofu House. They just opened a second one, which I haven't been to, but the original one on Telegraph over there is like, their panchan like side dishes and like their fresh tofu and everything, and chilled. Just the focus on soy product is really interesting to me because no one else is really doing it around here, and I have an affinity towards the country style Korean cooking and like the really old world techniques before the spice trail, before chilies were involved. So there's a lot of like Korean aspects that you always think of, like kimchi having chilies and things like that. But
Right.
there was a time before that.
Really?
Yeah. So.
Okay. Damn.
Yeah.
So what? Before we leave, what are the your favorite restaurants in Oakland? Give me 3.
Oh man, Tacos Mi Reinita in East Oakland.
Okay.
It's just moved out of someone's front yard into a parking lot. They stepped it up.
Tacos Morenito.
Mi Reinita.
Mi Reinita. Okay, got you.
My
Tacos
little
Mi Reinita.
Queen, my
Yeah,
little queen, right?
Yeah.
They got like a little comal going. They're making their tortillas to order, like chopping all the meat on like tree stumps, and
Oh, dope.
it's so cool. And like a lot of people don't know about it. The only way to really find it is on their Instagram.
Okay, got you. Don't worry,
pretty good.
SucioTalk.com coming really soon. We're gonna be able to showcase those places exactly.
Very good.
Yeah.
Wow. I like Nyambai, and I guess they're moving. The Cambodian spot.
Where are they moving to?
I don't know.
No.
I don't know. It says on their website. I haven't checked it
Gotcha.
out yet. I haven't been to Komi.
No. I mean, James is the man,
Yeah.
and I went to CDP with Jeff and Spencer, and it was amazing, and I can't wait to try Comey.
Yeah.
That guy has been doing it before anybody else was doing it.
For sure. Yeah.
He was doing it in what I bet other chefs and his peers were like, "What are you trying to do over there?" You know what I mean?
Yeah,
He's-
especially here.
Yeah,
It's like-
dude.
yeah, it's kind of crazy.
And it's like it's a lot of respect to him. Like he basically made it so the restaurants that exist here now can exist.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
For sure.
So shout out to James Scheibout.
Yeah, and then I think lastly in Oakland, all of the people that kind of came from the Shapenese family, there are some things that I don't know, but from an experience and a food standpoint, things like Pizzaiolo, Camino, there was Homestead on Piedmont. That whole group does something that's like truly like just simple French-ish. I'm saying simple French food because that's Richard Olney's book, and I think that they kind of encapsulated his ideology as far as food goes. Like it's like simple, rustic, and tastes great, and it's the product is the focus.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is something that's really important to our area more so than anywhere else, is like not over manipulating things.
Right. Awesome. So you're gonna be a recurring guest on
Sounds
the
good.
show. All right. We're gonna open up the lines here. So suciotalk@gmail.com, and my man here will answer all your foraging and fucking other questions, whatever the fuck we can think of. But let's try to make this a regular thing, and at some point we'll do these live. We'll just fucking have people call in.
Sounds good.
We'll hang out, fucking Sucio Talk.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man, no problem.
Cool.
That's all good.